Welcome to Fat Over 40. My name's Miles, and in this episode, we're going to do the mind tag. Now, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. There's a new film every single Friday, and if you like what you hear, please give us a thumbs up. But more importantly, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Now, I was nominated to do this mind tag by Craig at Grey Wall Fitness. If you haven't checked out his channel, then there's a link in the description below. I urge you to. He's a great guy. Now, I don't normally do these sort of things. It is a little bit deep, and what Craig said that he was doing was he was giving it from a male perspective. Well, I suppose I can't do anything else but to answer these questions from a male perspective. They're a little bit deep, I suppose, about like your inner voice. Yeah, I'm not even sure I have an inner voice, but there we go. Look, I'm going to crack straight into them and see if I can answer the questions. And at the very end, I'm going to nominate 3 people to take part in this tag. So, here we go. How do you stay positive in tough times? Well, for me, it's all about looking back. It's looking back about and recognizing how far you've come. When you're in the middle of the journey, it is quite easy to sort of get sucked in and lose your way a little bit. So it's always important to sort of look back at old photos, just to remind yourself, you know, how much you've sort of lost or how much you've changed. And that sort of picks you up within those tough times to realize that actually, you know, you may not think you're moving forward, but you actually are. What makes me happy? I suppose there's a couple of things that make me, there's quite a few things that make me happy, but my wife, she makes me happy. Getting smaller, that is making me happy at the moment, like buying newer, smaller, tighter clothes. And I am being given lots of compliments. I meet people that I haven't met for a little while and like, oh, you know, you sort of lost weight, Miles, blah, blah. So, and people say that I look younger and I'm looking good. So that makes me happy. When in my life did I feel most out of place? I suppose going to secondary school. I was brought up in South Wales in the valleys. And my parents, rightly or wrongly, thought it was better for me to go to a school in Cardiff, which was about sort of 12 to 15 miles away from my house. The point being is I left all of my friends that I'd made sort of where I grew up and had to go to secondary school pretty much alone. And you won't really realise this unless you're from South Wales, but certainly there would be a stigma from the people that would live in Cardiff versus the people that would live in the valleys. There was definitely a sort of a disconnect there. So to say that I was sort of picked on for being different, for coming from a different place, yeah, I suppose that's where I felt most out of place because I was different to the majority of people. And you know, I had to sort of make new friends, etc, etc. So it's not sort of like poor me, but I suppose that's where I felt most out of place in my life. What is my inner voice like? I try and, I don't know if I've got an inner voice to be honest with you, but I do try and hold a positive attitude in most things I do. You know, I try and have like a I can do attitude, and I do try and give most things a go. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen if you try something? Well, you fail, and pretty much along the way, perhaps you learn, or you learn how to do the right way to do things. So yeah, I definitely always have a go. What words do I use to keep myself grounded? I don't know, this sort of suggests that I'm not grounded. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer this. I definitely don't use words to keep myself grounded. Like, I mean, I think I'm pretty grounded anyway. I don't think that I'm like not grounded. What's the opposite to grounded? Don't know, but I'm not it, I suppose. It's not a great answer, I'm sorry, but yeah, there we go. I'll sort of tell it as it is. Right, what have I changed about my attitude that I admire? Well, I'm not sure that I admire these things, right? But I can tell you what I've changed about my attitude. I try and have a can-do attitude to everything I do. I try and visualise me achieving my goals. It may sound a little daft, but when I set my goals, you know, I try and visualise myself actually achieving them. Yeah, I mean, I just try and have a positive attitude about most things. I really don't think that it helps you in life being negative. I think if you're negative, then only negative things are going to happen. And if you're positive, then sometimes positive things happen, sometimes negative things happen. But if you go out with a negative attitude, then negative things are all you're going to achieve. So there we go. That's what my attitude's all about. How do I work on my inner voice? Again, I don't work on my inner voice. I suppose what I've got to be careful of is that I can be lazy, and I've got an addictive personality, so it wouldn't take very much for me to have a cigarette. It wouldn't take very much for me to have the bad foods that I've been that I've gorged on along the way. Yeah, you know, I'm quite weak, I suppose. It's very easy for me to walk into the pub and walk out a few hours later completely drunk. Yeah, so I need to watch out for being lazy and for my addictive personality. Yeah, so I think that's all of the answers to all of the questions. Thank you, Craig, for nominating me. I hope I have answered them well, I've answered them as truthful as I can, so what more can I do? I'm going to nominate or tag, I think that's the whole point. I'm going to tag 3 people into this. So my 3 tags are Dustin from Losstogain. Again, if you want to check out his channel, I'll put a link in the description below. Bars from Aussie Weight Loss, and Gina from Gina Phoenix. I think all 3 of you will enjoy answering these questions. So, if you haven't seen my last video, then click here. If you haven't seen this video, it's a cracker. Click here. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Click here and ring that bell. And if you make one change this week, think about your mind and your inner voice. So you don't die fat.